Welcome to Wrestlemania!
Larry Pratt's latest book is now...
The irresistible force meeting the immovable object. The greatest professional athlete in the world today. Look at this! He's I don't believe it! Look out, the big splash! 1, 2, and he got it! Unbelievable! The Warriors won the title!
Michaels drop kicks the ladder, and down goes Razor, and the ladder is teetering back and forth. Ladies and gentlemen, on the rope, and he caught him! Cover! Get in there, DiBiase! He got it! I cannot believe it! Down comes Steve Austin! Impossible! He's done the impossible! Nobody's ever broken it! He did it! He did it! Austin runs the sharpshooter!
What the hell's left to do it, Cole? Oh my God!
Lesnar went for the shooting star press, and Kurt Angle rolled out of the way. Hey, look at this! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Oh my God! The hostile takeover of Donald Trump on Vince McMahon has happened. He's gone! The game taps! The game has to tap out! The Undertaker is 19-0. He did it! And somehow, some way, the streak lives. WrestleMania!
If you smell now what the Rock is cooking.
WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
The Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey. Oh yeah.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Really? Yeah.
Hello and welcome to a special Wrestlerainia edition of Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB, the show that I didn't think would happen, but Mother Nature helping us out a little bit. Of course, we're going to be previewing WrestleMania. We'll talk a little bit of TNA. Okay, who am I kidding? We're probably not going to talk a little bit of TNA. And I say we because also with me here in studio, WBCB's own Mike Samsel joining us, longtime friend, well, yeah, I'll say close personal friend of mine. I'll go the Mean Gene Okerlund route, although we have met before.
Yes.
As opposed to a close personal friend of Mean Gene's who he hasn't met before. Oh, I love that old trick that he would throw. A close personal friend of mine, Regis Philbin, or something like that.
Right, exactly. We just met about 13 seconds ago.
Yeah, right before the cameras went on, we just met, but he's a close personal friend of mine. I love that trick. Oh, so much to get into. Of course, I know, I cheated a little bit. I used the same intro package from last week, but I didn't think this show was happening this week.
Right, exactly. And it's amazing.
And it's a great clip, too. I mean, a great series of clips. Like I said, that I get goosebumps just from putting it together, and it's not just one of those pat myself on the back, Barry Horowitz style for putting together a good audio piece.
That's the second bad Barry Horowitz illusion that we've had today. One on air, one off air.
Yeah, the first on air, the other off air. And that's probably two more than we should have. Yeah, well, you never know where this show's going to go. I mean, in the past, we've mentioned...
Especially when I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned everything from Barry Horowitz to the Jumping Bomb Angels. You never know where we're going to go.
I don't know. When we did our Hall of Fame suggestions last year on Richie's last show, there's some pretty interesting names came out there, too.
Oh, very true. And one of them, it looks like, we're going to have this... well, actually, the ceremony is tonight, of course. Ron Simmons, also known as Farouk, which was my unofficial nickname here for a long time.
Yeah, it was.
When we had a certain PD here, which, I don't know, could we, we're better off not mentioning anything further about that.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, no future endeavor references here.
Yeah.
It's safer that way. No, seriously, Paul, we love you and all that, and moving on. Okay, but yes, the Hall of Fame inductions going on tonight, of course, leading up to WrestleMania tomorrow, and WWE finally announcing the inductors, which almost seems like as big of a deal as who's getting inducted in.
Right.
Who's the one giving the speech to induct them in? Here's the list of all the inductees and inductors. Of course, big shock, Edge going in and Christian inducting him.
That'll be
no
awesome.
shock there, yeah. I wonder if they'll have, for the benefit of those with flash photography, a 5-second pose of some sort up on stage. That's always a great one. Of course, Dusty Rhodes inducting the Four Horsemen.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, considering the big feuds that they had in the NWA back obviously in the mid-'80s, makes perfect sense. I mean, Magnum TA, not exactly as big a name, but, can't go wrong with Dusty Rhodes, and a fellow Hall of Famer as well. Triple H and Shawn Michaels inducting Mike Tyson, the celebrity Hall of Famer. Since he was involved with DX and the whole thing back in WrestleMania 14 and 98, I get it.
He did more than Drew Carey.
This is true. He did more than Drew Carey.
I mean, it's a low bridge, but...
But, I mean, if you're going to go that route, I mean, wouldn't you put Muhammad Ali in there before you put Mike Tyson? I mean, if we're going to put a boxer involving himself in the WWE into the Hall of Fame?
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, Muhammad Ali, obviously the special enforcer from WrestleMania 1, which, little spoiler for today in wrestling history, that happened 27 years ago today, WrestleMania 1, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like Tyson was actually involved in the storyline. There was about a 6-month run where he was pretty actively involved.
Maybe not 6 months. I mean, they initially brought in the announcement, if I remember right, it was January of 98, and that's when Austin came out.
Yeah.
Did the whole, I think it's just after the Rumble, and then, of course, the all of Tyson's posse, and then all of the WWE officials and whatnot, and Austin coming out. You got your little beady eyes locked on the eyes of the world's toughest son of a, well, you know how the rest of that goes. And then, of course, the double middle finger and McMahon yelling at Austin, "You ruined it, damn it!"
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I know, such iconic moments. I mean, these are the things I remember when I'm, 16, 17 years old.
Right,
they just stick with you even now, almost 15 years later. Yipes. Oh, that's a frightening thought. So to keep away from those frightening thoughts, let's go ahead and get to the phones. Oh, man, we've... I
don't know. That's a pretty frightening thought, too.
Not necessarily. No, well, it depends on who it is. In this case, it's Dan from Chicago. He's not that frightening. He's one of our better callers. Always appreciate it. Dan, welcome to the program.
What's up, guys? How you doing? I'm ready for WrestleMania.
So are we. I mean, we're bouncing all over the place here like a pinball. And we haven't even gotten into this. We've been reminiscing, but I mean, this event's looking pretty good as well. I mean. It's one of those where the matches are better on paper than the hype is provided, I think.
Oh, my God, this year's so much better. Like, from last year, it's, not even funny.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 4 quality main events, and only 3 of them have really been talked about. The fourth one's just kind of lying in the weeds like a sleeper-type match. I don't mean the sleeper hold, but...
And that would be the Royal Rumble winner, oh, by the way, who used to main event WrestleMania.
Yeah,
you know what's crazy is that it's these 2... WWE Championship matches that they have feel like Intercontinental title matches.
Right.
Yeah, and the Intercontinental title match almost feels like a Diva match by comparison. And that's a shame, too, because, I mean, I think it's no secret. I mean, I border on having a man crush on Cody Rhodes. I'll throw it out there. I mean, I think
he's your Drew McIntyre.
He is. He is my Drew McIntyre. I don't know where you're going with that, but I'll roll.
I have the man crush on McIntyre.
You have the man.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, kind of like how Richie had the man crush on the Miz.
Right.
All right. I'll follow along with that. Although I'm not putting Rhodes on my license plate like he put "I'm awesome" on his license plate. But that's another story for another day.
I'm really excited about The Rock and Cena. Do you think The Rock's going to actually pass the torch? My wife is saying no, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, I was going to go into this a little bit more in the second segment because it took a heck of a time to edit 20 minutes of stuff down to about 7 of The Rock and Cena going back and forth. But, I mean, the promo that they delivered, and that's going to be coming up after our first time out, they hit a grand slam. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, whatever, between the Rock concert and all the momentum that they lost, they gained back and then some this past Monday on Raw. And... they, for anyone who thought, oh, it's a slam dunk that, Cena's going to win, or, oh, it's a slam dunk that Rock's going to win, now, I don't know which way to go.
Right.
I mean, I do. I have my predictions certain to go wrong, but now I'm more likely, I think, to be wrong than I was before.
I just hope it's like going to be like the Ultimate Challenge at WrestleMania 6, where it's going to be a clean victory, but from what reports I've been reading, that it might not be a clean victory, and I think that's kind of sad.
That was my only guess for the whole thing. My guess is I don't think it's going to be clean, and I think we're probably going to see this again at SummerSlam.
Either SummerSlam, or are we going to get another year of this and make our way to East Rutherford and have Cena Rock 2.0?
It feels that way.
Can we deal with another year of hype of this? Do I have to talk about this for another 52 weeks?
I hope not, for your sake.
Oh, I think it's going to lead to something else, though.
Oh, yeah, there have been different rumors out there, and I've heard those rumors. I don't want to bring them up here just in case something happens. I don't want to, necessarily, I don't want to be the one who ruins something for somebody else. I'm a big fan of not letting particular spoilers out on the air here, especially if it's something that's happening the next day. But they're not hard to find if you're interested in what they are. Yeah, if you want to know what's going on, I mean, that's why, Al Gore allegedly invented this thing called the internet. You can go ahead and look it up that way. But, I like to keep that out of it. So if you want to find out, go ahead, look it up. But, whatever alleged allegations of potential involvements and surprises and things, leave them off the show here. I like to let people be surprised. Call me, I guess I'm a little old school in that regard, but it makes it a little bit more fun to not know.
Yeah.
But as a broadcast journalist, I have to know these things, so I'm kind of stuck.
I think there's a couple matches that are going to set up for next year. I don't know if we're going to see the Rock Cena 2.0. Obviously, the other rumor that's floating around out there, this isn't as much of a spoiler. This has kind of been a Twitter feud that's starting. I feel like next year's Rock Cena is ultimately going to end up being Punk Austin.
Yes, and actually it seems like we've had more hype this week for WrestleMania 29 than we have for WrestleMania 28.
Right, yeah.
Austin's neck he's gonna die. Just like with Hogan, we get afraid with Hogan being in the ring, Austin is gonna die.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Austin he's kept himself in great shape. He hasn't worked a match since 2003, so it's been a 9-year layoff, but he's kept himself in good shape. I mean, the doctors have told him that the neck is healing rather nicely. I'd probably be more worried about his knees.
Yeah.
Because his knees have had issues since the mid-'90s. But, I mean, then the neck, of course, we hadn't, that wasn't an issue until the infamous SummerSlam 97 tombstone heard round the world, courtesy of the late, great Owen Hart.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, looking back to Twitter from this past Monday night, Punk and Austin back at it again. Punk, of course, wrote 29, son, tweeting to Austin, and then Austin replying, just worry about 28. If the stars all line up, I always have a big can of whoop-ass ready to take to NYC. So
then who's heel, who's face?
Well, who's heel, who's face with Rock Cena? Does it really matter? Yeah, it doesn't matter who's heel or face.
It doesn't matter who the bad guy is.
Well, me being the Chicago guy, I'm going to have to root for Punk, obviously.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's one of those where you're not in the wrong if you root for Punk, and you're not in the wrong if you root for Austin. That's going to be another one of those generational gaps. Fans of the Attitude Era, they're going to lean a little bit more toward Austin.
Right.
Fans of the current...
I was going to say the Attitude Era, I may actually disagree with you because it feels like Punk is kind of the last grasp to that era that everyone seems to miss so much.
Yep.
He's like a young infusion of the Attitude Era. I can get behind that a little bit.
Yeah.
Of course, he was maybe a year or two older than I was when that Attitude Era was going on. So.
Right, yeah, exactly. But, no, I'm definitely excited. I'm with you, man. I'm definitely pumped for this year's WrestleMania. And to be honest with you, I think the match that's going to steal the show is the World Heavyweight title match that's getting the least amount of play.
Yeah, no, Daniel Bryan and Sheamus.
I disagree with that. I think it's going to be Jericho versus Punk.
You can't go wrong either way. Those both look like fantastic matches.
It feels to me, I loved the Punk scene, or I loved the Punk Jericho thing, the way they first started doing it, where it felt like the whole buildup of the rivalry was it didn't need a storyline. It was just Punk Jericho.
Best in the world.
Yeah. And then they kind of went to this alcoholic brother, uncle,
yeah, the substance
sister,
abuse family thing.
And I feel like that killed some of its momentum a little bit.
Jake Roberts should be the special referee in that match then.
Too soon.
No, too soon would it be if you'd said Scott Hall, but
this is true.
No, I actually, from what I hear, Scott Hall, he's in the wellness program. He's making strides to get better. It's
I'm
courtesy of a busted open interview with good buddy Sean Waltman, X-Pac.
Right.
Found that out over the course of the week.
ESPN
the E60 from a couple months ago.
That was powerful. Like, you realize Scott Hall had some issues, but wow, he has some issues.
Yeah.
Who's got it worse, Scott Hall or Jake Roberts?
At this point,
I gotta
Scott
go
Hall.
Yeah.
I mean, because Jake's been spending quite a bit of time climbing out, and now he's out and just kind of observing everything. I mean, he's obviously, he's making an appearance here or there, doing some autograph things, that sort of deal. But, Hall, I mean, he's right in the thick of it. They're not doing an ESPN E60 piece on Jake the Snake Roberts.
They got it. You know what, though? You know what's sad is Jake Roberts is not in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I probably should have. Well, I mean, we have time to kick this around, but we can even do that next week as the annual snubs, omissions, and otherwise regarding the Hall of Fame. I think that's
sorry, I'm gonna beat this to that horse. Edge does not deserve it yet. Edge does not deserve it right now.
You think the first ballot's kind of cheapening a lot of other people who kind of deserve to be in it before him?
Macho Man should be the final, the thing for tonight. It should be Macho Man, not Edge.
I'm fine with Edge being in on the first ballot, but I don't feel like he should be the guy. Like, he's the induction tonight. That's what I have a problem with more than the fact of just him being in first ballot, whatever. I'm fine with that. It's kind of, unfortunately, the cheapening of what the WWE title has become, which makes him a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I don't know that I'm okay with him being the guy.
No, I'm not at all.
Yeah, I mean, if I look at this, and I know they're not going to go in this order because, the Four Horsemen weren't WWE guys, but if I look at the head of this class, it has to be the Four Horsemen,
yeah,
without question. Especially, I mean, the dynamic of Flair working for TNA, but he is going to appear on stage. What's he going to say? Does it even matter? Because they're going to edit whatever it is out and probably not have him speak at all when they show that 1 hour special this Monday before Raw. Yeah, they're cutting the whole thing down to an hour. That they're not. They'll get Arn up there. They'll maybe get Tully, and that's about it.
Yep.
And if WWE was smart, like, they would do a special for tonight, like on pay-per-view for $5. The people that really want to watch the Hall of Fame, charge them $5, either on the internet or on pay-per-view.
They're not doing a web stream of it or anything?
No, they're not doing any kind of web stream. The only thing you're going to get out of it is if you watch Monday from 8 to 9 Eastern before Raw, they're going to take Sunday, I guess at some point they're going to have a couple of interns or whatever and just cut down the whole ceremony to about to enough for an hour, and then that's all you get.
Yeah, that's horrible. I'm with you. There should definitely be a webcast or a pay-per-view or something like that. I mean, there's definitely a market to sit out there and watch the whole ceremony.
Yeah, but I mean, with the 6 inductees and the introductions and everything, I mean, you're going to maybe get about 6 to 7 minutes per inductee.
Yeah.
You can do like a special package, like if you want to get the entire WrestleMania weekend, like I said, the Hall of Fame and WrestleMania, you could cut it the price down or something. And I'm sure people.
Oh, I like that. Instead of the $49.95 for just the pay-per-view, you pay the $69.95. You maybe get to see some of the matches from the Access weekend with the FCW guys, the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Yeah, make it like the whole weekend.
I'm in with that.
Why not? All right,
there we go. We're fixing WWE one pay-per-view at a time.
Yep.
You just need 3.
We'll talk next week.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Always appreciate it.
Take care, Dan. You just need 3 nerds with a radio show, and we'll be set.
Yeah, it's a matter of his Vince McMahon listening, though. I don't know. He doesn't listen to many. We know that much.
Right.
All right, let's take care of a little bit of business. We'll come back. We'll get Manny. We'll get to the local scene with Ed on the other side. And then we've got room for you as well. 215-949-3232 or toll free at 888-922-2149. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.